We have Jukka Ruponen from IBM. He is an IT architect, and he is going to talk us about how to build smarter planets. Please welcome Jukka.
Thank you. Thank you. And thanks for coming to this session. Let's move quickly. I have probably too many slides anyway, but I want to also show you something, so let's keep moving. Now, if you know IBM, where I come from, as a computer hardware company, you probably know that all the new game consoles are powered by IBM processor technology. However, that is not really what we're going to. In this session, there was a session last year. How many attended last year? The IBM session about programming on the cell processor. No one in this audience? Okay, that maybe we need to re-invite the speaker again next year. Anyway, what I'm going to discuss about is that the Smarter Planet is a kind of a theme for IBM that we call our activities to affect the ways we do business, we live, we manage traffic, we manage finance, healthcare, etc. A lot of the topics that touches us all as we live here. As you know that there are a lot of computing power at the moment available that we can use to make the world a better place to live. For instance, by the end of this year, there will be 1 billion transistors per each single person, each single individual in the world. 1 billion transistors, each costing about 10 millionth of a cent. That's interesting enough. The other thing which is interesting enough is that any of the devices, like what we counted is that we have 1 trillion. It's big enough. If you have that much money, you can figure out that it's a pretty big number. But in this space, 1 billion equipment that can be connected together via internet. Okay? Refrigerators, microwave ovens, electrical measurement equipments in the house, power system, power grids, cars, roads, pretty much anything, you can connect them together. Now what we understand is the world is becoming instrumented, so whatever you do, everything is instrumented, monitored, censored, where you're going, what you do, what actions you take, what transactions you make. Equipments that you use are intelligent and becoming intelligent enough so that they can really make the decisions for you. This is the world we are entering into, and it is a very, very different type of world that we used to live in. Now let's see a little video about the subject.
Soon there'll be 1 trillion connected devices in the world.
Can you hear them?
Food is talking to store shelves.
Cargo containers are talking to supply chains.
Power lines are talking to the grid.
Now that's smart.
Systems that allow carrots to tell truck drivers how fresh they are.
Roads alert cars about traffic patterns.
Cars alert mechanics before they break down.
When things communicate,
Systems connect.
When systems connect,
the world gets smarter.
that's what I'm working on.
I'm an IBMer. Let's build a smarter planet.
Okay, so that quite simply explains to you what I'm working on at the moment as an IT architect in IBM. Taking advantage of the technology that we have, taking advantage of the skills that you have to program it, to make it do things that were otherwise impossible just a few years ago. Now, the global challenge is that by the 2050, it's estimated that 70% of the population will be living in cities. Can you imagine the amount of traffic? Can you imagine a lot of challenges with the infrastructures and economics and the structures of the city and the services that we are going to face? 70% of all the people will be living in the cities. Also, there will be huge issues like in the US only. In the world where we have 820 million people that don't have food, they are undernourished. In the US, the crockers and consumers waste food of 48 billion, worth of 48 billion every year. Okay, we need to do something. And also, like the traffic congestion, so that you sit in the traffic. That is where we spend 58 supertankers of fuel every year. Okay, so there is a lot of this type of challenges in all the areas that we are facing. So we need you to actually think what we can do with the intelligence and with the intelligent equipments that we have, and program them and make the systems that really serves to solve these problems. So why do we need serious games? Serious gaming is, it's been studied quite a lot, that the gaming experience is going to change the way we learn. And the fact is that the new generations are very familiar with the gaming experience. Now, trying to explain the problem to someone is very different than making you actually the game through the problem. So you are going to see in the game, in a serious game that has other purpose than just the gaming itself, you are going to see how things are going to change over time in a couple of years, in 10 years, and so forth. So you're going to see what disasters or catastrophic situations we are going to face. Also, to find new solutions for them. Young people think very differently than from the boomers and from the traditional people. They look for new ways of working. They make decisions other ways. They are more willing to share information. You know the tradition in the working, so that you keep, if you learn something, you keep the information for yourself. You think that it's value to you and you don't want to share it, you don't want to lose it. But today, I would say that we are much more willing to share what we know. So a single person like me can't do much, but together we can do a lot. Now we need to understand that we don't learn that much by just hearing and attending in a session like we are doing at the moment. How we are learning and remembering things is that like within 2 weeks, we tend to remember some of the things that we see and look and hear, like this session, etc. However, that is passive. If we go to the active side of the pyramid, we are, after 2 weeks, we remember 70% of the things that we say, and 90% of the things that we see and do by ourselves at the same time. So gaming experience, for instance, simulating a real-life experience, is a very, very effective way to learn new things and thinking new ways. So we believe, and not only us, but we believe that the gaming will improve a lot our abilities to solve huge business problems that are waiting us in the near future. Now, there are a couple of things that we've tried to touch this topic with. One is the business simulators, and IBM has made a couple of different types of business simulators, so that the people that don't otherwise learn about like what is the business process management and what tools do we use to model the business processes. Like if you pay your shopping in the store, how is the transaction being handled? For instance, there is a lot of processes behind. Now, learning, how do we model those? How do we simulate those? And how do we apply those in real life? We need business simulators so that you can actually go and take a look how your simulated models would work in real life. Net gaming experiences and also virtual world simulation, that I'm going to give you some examples of all of these, at least these two actually, not going to the net gaming this time. But Probably you don't know that IBM is leading in corporate serious games. We are not a gaming company. That's not our business. We don't do that. However, we do technology. We develop research and develop technology, software technology, computing hardware and technology and software as well, but and services. However, the serious game area is growing heavily. And that is that the corporates want to adopt new ways to teach people technically. Systems are very complex today. If I need to explain to you, like what does the system do that I've designed, it takes a couple of days and you're not going to remember. If you actually walk through the system in a virtual space, you're going to understand why it is designed as it is and how the different things are interacting to each other. But we need to do simulations in order to do that. The first I would say, the popularly known business simulators was the Innovate. Innovate was a game that was designed to close the gap between business people and IT people. Very often in a project, business people who have, they deal with the money and profitability and efficiencies of the processes, do not speak the same language as the technical people who just build the systems and program and do that type of things. There is a gap between, so that's why most of the projects, it's been said 80% of the projects do not meet their goals. They fail in IT business. That's pretty scary, but that's a fact. Okay, so this game was designed to do that. You have a business task. Two companies merge. The other buys the other one. Both of them have a customer center that provides a customer service for their products. Now there is a huge additional cost to maintain two customer service centers. Now in this game, you are going to find out how the customer service processes work today, as is processes, and then you are going to find out what will be the to-be processes so that you actually integrate two businesses together and two customer centers together. And you're going to implement the systems and design them and so forth. Then if you success in the game to do that, then you are actually going to be by the managers, the virtual managers. They are going to hire you actually to run the business. Then you're going to play with the money, resources, and it really matches quite good real-world scenarios, which is a very common scenario. But after the game, 1 hour, you understand what the business process modeling means, what are the basic laws of, in a merger situation like this, when you're going to harmonize and streamline the processes, what are the ways to do that the best. And then you pretty much understand the topic in 1 hour. It was a huge success. Here's a little
Last time my company faced a
trailer.
situation this dire, we encountered an unknown threat from within. The business and IT processes were outdated or lost, and the future of after hung in the balance. Some problems ease with time, but some only get bigger.
Creators of BPM, enabled by SOA, comes an innovative learning experience for the next generation. Uncover process challenges, simulate real-world business solutions, and innovate amidst the difficulty and danger at the offices of After Incorporated.
We're counting on you.
Okay. That game was a success, downloaded by 1,000 universities and colleges all over the world. Hundreds of them have made special curriculums around this game. And it was just a very simple game. If you are game programmers, you can probably do as good, or maybe even better. You know the Sims and these type of games. It's just the difference is that this simulates a real world. Business problems that we deal with every day, and myself every day in my job. Now, the purpose of the game is not gaming itself, but really learning about the real things. Now, encouraged about of the success of the first version, we developed the 2.0. 2.0 is dealing with smart traffic. Like, how many have been in Stockholm recently? Driving by car? Okay, so you probably have seen the Stockholm driving change, that we implemented intelligent taxing system that have actually reduced the congestion by 25% in the Stockholm Central. And also they've reduced emissions by 12% and so forth. Real tangible results. Now in this game, the 2.0, you have a chance not only to play offline, but also online. I understand how these type of solutions are designed, how the prices are set for the taxing, and you are going to try yourself. So you understand what makes people satisfied, what makes people dissatisfied, and you can adjust different parameters that actually correlates to the real world. So then you understand why the prices are as they are, how things have been done, like in Stockholm, how they are. So you understand a little bit more of that. Let's take a little look.
Enter a world where reduced traffic congestion before your eyes. Companies revolutionize customer service. Businesses streamline supply chains. Experience real problems, real solutions, real results. The Smart Work 3D Interactive. Then once you've seen the possibilities, put them into practice. Innovate 2.0, the next evolution of the groundbreaking business simulator, will challenge you to solve today's toughest business problems and learn how to work smarter. Every choice affects the fate of After Incorporated and decides your place among global business leaders. See the possibilities, get the skills, make the choices. To win in business, you have to innovate.
Nice trailer. I like the music especially. Anyway, the idea is to make these type of games for companies in their business areas. We have customers in all of the sectors of business, like in banking and finance. They are really keen to see the game, serious games that actually teaches their employees and their subsidiaries, customers, co-bodies, and so forth about the challenges, and also help them to make decisions. They are really willing to pay for this. And it's a quite amount of money that today is being invested on serious games on all of the business areas. I don't have the numbers, but you can believe me that this is really, really a booming topic. The anatomy of this type of game doesn't have to be like very, very real. It doesn't have to be the coolest game ever with the fancy three-dimensional aspect and the graphics and so forth. Doesn't have to be, because the purpose isn't that. It just have to be made from a learning perspective so that it correlates to the real world. So now in this case, for instance, if you design and start to play with the smarter traffic scenario, you update the models that actually correlates to the real processes, how things are done, and you get scored as as you progress, and then you simulate what would that actually do in the real world, and then you execute and see what the outcome will be. Okay. Then there are also things like if you go to work in a company, you have a new job, you're a new hire, it's gonna be like quite long, very usually quite long period, learning period for you actually to get yourself familiar with the job and the tools and the processes and the methods that how you work. And it takes a lot of time and effort. So what we've done is that we've researched and tested many ways to train new employees when they come to the house, either project managers, PMs, or sales forces, or our technical community, to train them how to design, how to be an architect in IBM, what you need to do, what methods you need to learn, how to work, how to follow the different work products. It doesn't matter how you work, you need to work in a different way so that it can be reproduced in the other side of the world. It doesn't just matter how you do things. You have to do them certain way so that it can be reproduced in elsewhere. So gaming is a very good way to do that. And for instance, here example. Okay. I was expecting this. PowerPoint always seems to do that. Just a second. Okay, here we go. But as you can see, it's going through a simulated scenario is sometimes it's much more safe than trying with the real customer. Customers are paying, they're expecting results. If they hire you to be a project manager, you need to have some qualification. If you are new in the job, how we can put you into the customer scenario without training you first? And that training can be long enough to really take half year or a year of your life to become a professional project manager. Now, training the scenarios in virtual world helps that a lot. Okay, so understanding that the gaming is becoming a natural work tool to learn new things or simulate what would happen if in a project we would do this. And that's where we use huge data stores that makes the calculations and predictions for you, and also the results from real project done behind that you can actually experience without having that experience for yourself. Now, the other things are interesting, like in the schools. You know the old PC concept, one laptop per child, very cheap. I think that the target was make the old PC available for $100 each, but I think that the current price is something like 150. Anyway, the cost is very little. So well, it's ridiculous to assume that in the schools everyone has a computer unless they bring their own, or the computers are ridiculously cheap, because we can't afford, you know, like 400, 500, 600 euros per child for a computer. That's like, you know, our tax rates would go to the roof. But anyway, the program here and the idea here, OLPC, is to really the kids from very early stage in the like first and second level school to learn about programming. Also, not just make games, which is funny, of course, and they can do this at home where they shoot each other and kill people. Also, other type of games, so that when they come to the work life, they have more experience of how to make actually game serve a purpose, a real life purpose that the companies really are going to need to simulate things. And that's how we also are participating in a project where we ported the SimCity, the first version of the SimCity, on the old PC laptop. So it runs there and it runs under the GPL license so that the students and the young kids actually can take the game further and change it towards more serious meaning. But it's a beginning, it's a start, like doing these type of things with the kids. Another thing is like flute control program, which is in Netherlands. This is a government program established just recently, and IBM is one of the sponsors, but there are many others. And the goal is to be able to simulate what would, you know, help the problem that 60% of the population do not have available adequate water or sanity in their where they live. So there is a huge issue with the water, and it's becoming worse because also how we consume water has been actually come to 6 times of what it was 100 years ago. Okay, and it's growing twice as much as the population of the world grows. So we consume more and more water all the time. Water is there, all right. It's a fixed amount of water on this planet. It doesn't go anywhere. However, the usable water, the clean water, that is where we have what we are missing. And we use, of course, simulations to do that and predict things. Now, virtual worlds, which is not that much of a game, and probably you are very aware of the virtual worlds because you are here. But I would still like to ask, how many of you have an avatar in some virtual world, whatever it is, that does not have a gaming purpose? Okay. Then I ask, how many of you has an avatar in a virtual world that has a gaming purpose, like World of Warcraft or... I would still expect more, really, in this in this context. So I'm a little surprised. Anyway, it's been estimated that over 200 million people in the world are having currently an avatar in one of the virtual worlds. We've been studying this, and now what we believe is this. Internet on your browser is 2-dimensional, right? You enter the address, you see whatever is there, the information, the content, the experience is 2-dimensional. Meaning that you can't walk into the page. Okay, you can't do that. You can see 3-dimensional things, but you can't walk into the space. And you can't just, for coincidence, meet some other people there or make contacts, do shopping, like, you know, touching the object, trying the clothes on you, and oh, this is nice, and I'm gonna buy this. And it works like in the internet website, but it's a fully 3-dimensional virtual interaction experience. That's what we believe, that like some companies don't respect the virtual worlds. They don't see the business value. However, in IBM, what we believe is whether if the interface is three-dimensional and I can walk in to the internet and be there in a virtual space, it's just another interface that opens another opportunities. So definitely, that is internet and there is business. So rather than just staying behind, we are trying to drive actually the adoption of virtual worlds quite heavily. So we come through the revolution of the net and to the internet, Web 2.0. But what we believe, not only maybe aside, one of the things that will happen in the internet is that the virtual worlds and three-dimensional interfaces will come, and they will come true. More than they are at the moment, maybe even more than what we used to do two-dimensional today. Now, and this is not only what I'm speaking, here's our chairman, Sam Palmisano, 2 years ago, more than 2.5 years ago, saying that this is something that three-dimensional realms, just like Second Life, are the next phase of the internet evolution, wherever and whenever that is. But that's what we believe. So we are, of course, in that space researching. IBM has 8 research centers around the world. There are 3,000 scientists in these research centers, and they study physics, mathematics, computer science, service science, social aspect of how do we do things, what's going to happen in the future, etc. A lot of things. One of the things that they are researching is also virtual worlds. What does it mean? Is there a benefit for business? Is it just for the gaming? Is there something useful for the business purpose? Can we actually give you a better service for the healthcare, for shopping experience, for banking customers application, or whatever, through the three-dimensional interface, and so forth. So we are trying to figure out. This guy here, just to prove the point, this guy here is responsible for all the IBM research. Okay. And you can guess in the picture what they are discussing about. The business applications? Not necessarily. Here you see the Second Life client running and having a couple of avatars there. So they really have research is heavily investing on this topic, examining. We don't guarantee there's something we're researching, and we have done some findings. Now, some of the earliest business application for virtual worlds and metaverses that are not gaming, like World of Warcraft or the others, is that we worked with our customers to see some of the benefits. Like, if you are shopping, you want to buy a kitchen, okay? You want to buy a kitchen. Now let's see. You go to the web page. You see the colors and the design of the kitchen, and you try to figure out how would that look like if it's our kitchen. But you can't make a buy and the purchase on the web because you're not quite sure. Now let's see if you do this in 3 dimensions. So you can go into the world, go into the kitchen, open the closets. Okay, how this works. This is actually pretty nice. The oven is there and the sink is there and so forth. Little changes. Works quite nice, and you can measure that in the scale to your real kitchen. Then you're actually a little more closer to see what you would expect if you order that kitchen. For instance, collaboration and events, we can replicate real world, as I'm going to mention about a couple of examples. We have replicated real life experience. Now, just before the summer holiday, I attended a conference in Germany. 10 minutes before the conference started, I played with my kids at our home in Eastern Helsinki. And 15 minutes after the conference, which was a whole day conference, I was back in Helsinki playing with our kids. I didn't consume, and I did any fuel, I didn't do any emissions, I didn't have to travel, all that trouble. How did it work? It worked so that there was a real seminar room, but for those people who want to just walk in to the virtual space, which is a replica of a seminar room, they had the back seats. They can sit there. The seats were empty, but I was sitting on one of those chairs and have a full experience on my computer. Can discuss with the people, can see the people presenting, and really chat with the others after the, during the breaks and so forth. But I was attending virtually. Believe me, this is business as usual, what we do at IBM. Not all the IBMers are doing this. Myself, I like this stuff, and I attended this type of seminars quite a lot. Believe me. Now, education and training, similar to the other example just mentioned, and some other emerging application, like evacuating this building. How do we train evacuating this building? Take a lot of people, thousands of people here. What does it cost? Now, let's replicate this building into the virtual world, and let's put you behind an avatar. You can sit where you are. You don't have to come here. We can easily find as many as we can over the internet just to control one avatar. And then we put you in the replica of this Hartwell Arena, and we give you 10 minutes, and let's see if everyone is out in 10 minutes. Did they see the exit signs? Did they see the road marks? The cost for this is a couple of thousand or maybe a couple of hundreds of dollars to do all this. In real world, it's probably going to cost a couple of tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands. So you understand that the virtual world is really, really a good opportunity to do things. Are you aware of the Second Life? Yeah, everyone knows you don't use it. Yeah, that was the earlier question. But anyway, Okay, Second Life is one example, but it's interesting that you can put the blueprint there, and if you are planning to design your own house, just put the blueprint, measure it in scale, put it on the floor, and just to start to build the walls and roof and everything. It's pretty fast, and then you have a full-scale model in the world of your building. And then you can ask your architect to visit and give you an offer how much would it cost to actually do this in real life. And you can very easily make changes. You don't need any CAD programs to do this. How much money? A couple of dollars, that's it. Okay, so you imagine that there are a lot of things that you can do. So we've had a number of customers. We've tried virtual banking with the Deutsche Bank. We've done virtual shopping experience with Sears and Circuit City, recruiting channel for Manpower. What else? Oh, okay, pretty interesting. Wimbledon, Australia Open. Now, if you are a customer and you order me to design a system and all the scorecards and all the technology for you, you are responsible for a tennis event. Now, would it be nice that actually, before the event, you could go through the pile of papers, but I take you with you and we walk here in the scenario. We see we are going to place some of the scorecards here, tennis scores are here. We are going to use this type of systems. You can go and see the screens of the systems that actually send the news broadcast and TV programs and the scorecard tables and everything. So we can actually go there and you say, okay, yeah, let's do this. Let's move those couple of things here. Let's do this differently. Otherwise, it looks good. Deal, let's do it. It doesn't cost that much than actually trying to replicate this other ways. Also, we can do guided tours, invite very easily people. It's just a couple of clicks and we can meet in a three-dimensional space in the internet. Very easy. One of the examples is data centers, green data centers. So we have a three-dimensional replicas of our data centers that actually cuts a lot of emissions and power consumption, and we show you there in real business how to do that, how to measure the air conditioning in 3 dimensions and make the model of the data center and cut half of your air conditioning cost, or double the power of the data center without increasing electricity cost. If you are Mr. Customer interesting, are you interesting? Yeah. So see the dollar sign here. Yeah, absolutely. That's what I'm talking about. So we can actually quite easily explain how and what you would do in real life to get the benefits. Okay. Also, in our corporate directory in IBM, all the employees have their kind of internal Facebook where you have a lot of stuff. But one of the things is that if I enter my avatar name there, I will automatically get access to the restricted areas and I will be identified so that the other IBMers know that who I really am. Intraverses, virtual worlds inside the firewall is another thing. I would scare to discuss about customer confidential stuff outside of the firewall. I would be scared to try some, scenarios that has patents or some other legal issues or sensitive discussions outside of the firewall. Now it's one reason why IBM started the development of Open Simulator. Open Simulator is compatible with the Second Life. And we made a deal with not a deal, but agreement with the Linden Lab that they actually give us understanding of and the code of their grid so that we can make an open source version of the BSD, the licensed version of the Second Life grid. The client is compatible with the OpenSim. You can run the you can download from the OpenSimulator.org into your laptop and you can run it there. Or you can put it in several machines and run it as a grid so that anyone else can connect to it. You can put it anywhere. So you can actually build your own island, your own virtual world. And this could be a company extranet. This could be your customer service site. This could be an internal training site, whatever. But it's open source. So we are driving this because we want to make this more standard and standardize. That's how the internet became popular, standards. So we also need to have standards. How do we combine and connect virtual worlds and build them up in first place? We've also integrated into our business chat with IBM Lotus same time. It's a business communication platform. There's a chat, and it's integrated to the three-dimensional virtual world. So instead of having a web conference, we can actually have a three-dimensional meeting room, and we can jump there right away from the chat window. So what's next? Next, 2 more slides, I think, and then we have a couple of questions. Now, what we believe that there are, I don't know how many, maybe you know better, but there are a couple of tens of virtual worlds popularly used in the world or in the internet. We see that as a problem. If you're registered to one of those, you don't actually have access to the other. If you own some property, maybe some intellectual property, or you have an avatar with some shape and character and reputation, whatever, you can't take that avatar and go into the different world. All the avatars belong to the particular world. I don't believe that, and we don't believe that. What we believe is that, like in the grid and in the cloud computing, we need to be able to actually make the clouds discuss to each other. And that's why we're also working in that area to standardize. But not only there, like in virtual worlds, what we believe is that we need to make standards and technology available so that the different type of virtual worlds can be connected together. So you can take your assets or virtual money, which then correlates to the real money, like in the Second Life, or some goods or whatever. You can take them with you and go to another world. Also, this is required for the, like if we are running many of the Open Simulator grids, we need this type of technology. Finally, mixing the virtual reality and real thing. That is something that I want to close with you, and let's see a couple of examples where we are actually going at. A couple of these are IBM examples and a couple of others. Now,
The Webcam Social Shopper by Zugara. Augmented reality just met utility. Motion capture allows you to be keyboard and mouse free. Only 3.57% of visitors to online retailers make a purchase. How do we enhance the online shopping experience to increase sales? Step 1. Select clothes. Step 2. Print marker. Step 3. Activate webcam. Motion capture allows you to select between items. And styles. Take a picture to share with friends and see what they think.
Okay, that's one thing. The other thing that is quite cool is from that was an IBM built application. So is this one, and it's pretty interesting. I bet you're gonna love this when it comes. Hope. Okay.
We're testing the IBM Sear, a mobile phone application developed by IBM for Wimbledon 2009 to help people better navigate their way through their time at Wimbledon and to just provide information on everything that's going on in and around the grounds. The phone has a very accurate GPS, which means it knows where you are. It also has a digital compass, which means it knows what direction it's being pointed in. We've also plotted everything in Wimbledon, so all the toilets, the drinking fountains and all the courts, they're all plotted. We have their GPS locations, and what that essentially enables the application to do is read your environment. You can probably see that as I move around, it's picking up information. Play tennis, buses to Wimbledon, court 12, we're testing the IBM Sear, mobile phone everything that's in the ground is plotted on this phone. Wimbledon 2009 move around to help people better navigate their way through their time at Wimbledon.
Right. So those examples are that about the mixing reality. We don't have much time further, but just like, you know, with a camera in your phone, it can recognize what's surrounding you. And there's also example I'm not going to show you because of the time shortage. But like if you're fixing a car, if you're a mechanic, you have never done something, it actually using the goggles like this, it gives you the instructions through the goggles so that you see what you need to do, what type of tools. So you see the virtual element on top of the real thing. So take that screw, okay, and then you know that this is the screw, and you need to take it off and then move this part and so forth. So we can really do things like mix reality and the virtual things to do different type of stuff. And you can even today print three-dimensional. Uses three-dimensional printers are using MDF material as the most. So if you have a virtual item, you can actually make and print out a three-dimensional copy of it. And there are services in the internet that allow you to do so. A lot of stuff are going to happen that deals with some of the things that we are here for. And I hope that you enjoyed the presentation. That it stimulates you. It probably didn't explain much how to do things, but just to stimulate you some of the ideas that the business needs. Now, if you have any questions, please, you're welcome to ask. We have a few more minutes, maybe, for the questions.
One question. Time for one question, if anyone has.
Make it tough one, something difficult.
No questions. Okay. So, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thanks.